Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Karen's Kids Podcast, episode number 28. This is the first of the new year, 2023.
Cheers, buddy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, buddy. New year, new me, as they say, huh?
Yeah.
It's a cheesy one, but it works.
So did you have any, did you do any of the classic, what are you going to change this year? Like resolutions? There
are. I do have some. I do have some resolutions for the year. I would say.
Is it anything? Does any of your resolution have to do with losing weight?
It's diet. It is a little bit diet.
Right.
Just because you know when you're eating bullshit, dude. Like. I might not be fat, but I always say I have about a 300-pound dude trapped in this body. Like, if I didn't move, if I wasn't forced to move at work and I wasn't extremely addicted to the gym, like, I would be 300 pounds. There's no doubt in my mind. I eat like a fucking animal and overstuff myself, and my body's all right for the way I eat. Like, the people who really know me and see the shit that I eat, it's just I have a lot of energy output. I work, being on my feet all day at work and then putting in the time in the gym. It allows me to eat kind of what I want, but I don't have the physique necessarily I want because I've been eating that bullshit. So 23, some of my resolutions are, it's like if you know you can do better, like, because this is the conversation with yourself. It's always the you versus you kind of conversation.
Yeah.
If you know you could do better, then fucking do better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
but that's one of those things that's so easily said.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Because what you just explained about you fucking being a 300-pound man in your, what do you weigh, 110?
Nah, psych. I'm probably I'm probably being generous when I say 175.
Okay, wow, that's supposed to be my weight according to the BMI structure.
Yeah, I don't think they factor in like muscle with
Right.
all that shit because, for example, somebody like Joe Rogan, if he did his weight with his height, he'd probably be obese. But it's they don't.
I think he did say that's the case for him. Yeah.
Right, because I remember, that's funny, because I remember seeing that in like middle school or some shit. I don't know if it was middle school or high school, but they had that, like, if you're 10% to 15% body or if it was like 15% body fat, you were overweight. If it was 20%, you were
obese.
Yeah, obese, and then 20% and more was morbid obese.
Morbidly obese, yeah. Yeah, that's great. So right now,
Who would have thought we would
supposed to be 190,
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I think I'm supposed to be 190. Or I think when I feel the best is when I'm at like 200 pounds.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
I'd
6
say,
foot,
yeah, I would say 180. Yeah, hell yeah. 185, 190 seems about right.
Yeah. So Hoist Gracie in the 1995 or 96 first UFC, he's 6 foot tall, 176 pounds, which he looks pretty scrawny. Mm-hmm. So that around that range is where I'm supposed to be. But I don't know. When I've lost weight, I feel pretty good, like at 200, and I've gotten down to like 170 pounds. Mm-hmm. But I didn't feel good at 170.
That was like a depression weight, right?
It was. What do you mean depression weight?
Sometimes when people go through, because
like I went through some shit.
Yeah, you're going through some shit. It's mostly a relationship. It's usually a relationship. Right. You could like not eat and then just like all of a sudden. And I always say this because it's kind of true. I think breakup is the best weight loss. It's the best weight loss program because
I don't know, dude.
Your mind is on something else, and you're not thinking about all the food you usually eat.
Yeah, but what about the strain to like your mental state of mind and your body, your function, your bodily, like your everyday bodily function? How's that suffering? You know, you might be going through like, I don't know, like sugar levels must be spiking and dropping. You know what I mean? Like, is it really the best way to lose weight? I don't know. I mean, it will get you to like looking better than you do as a fucking lazy fuck.
I think what's really happening is you're not thinking about, okay, when you're really happy in most relationships, most people can attest to this. Like a lot of relationships revolve on food, right? You eat with each other, you feed each other, you cook for each other. It's food.
It's like a fucking date. You go on a date, it's for food.
Exactly.
Right?
Every date's food.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Every date, every staple of every relationship, the cornerstone of every relationship is a good date night, right? Food. So you get excited. The happier you are, the more food you eat.
Right.
The desserts, you don't give a fuck what you look like anymore. I already got the girl, so fucking hell yeah, dessert. We're actually getting 2 desserts. Fuck that. Yeah. You know? So
right.
You know, I forgot what I was.
No, that's exactly what happens. Relationships.
Oh yeah. So when you get depressed, my fucking train of thought. When you get buzzed, when I'm fucking buzzed right now. When you go through depression, right? You're like not worried about the food. The food thing isn't the thing anymore. Right. It's like food isn't your thing anymore. So you're like, oh no, you're actually just like, oh fuck. And some people, it's like, oh, I need to get back in shape. That's like a kick in their ass. It's like, oh, I'm back out in the fucking dating force and I'm a sloppy piece of shit. I need to go out there. But then at the same time, it's like you don't have the same eating patterns of just feeling good and being with your other person, and you're overeating and you don't care what you look like anymore, and just all that mouth pleasure.
Yeah, and how much of it is that you're building like this? You're designing your downfall,
right?
When you date, because basically you pick up the girl, right? After you've rushed home from work, showered, did all the bullshit, right? Put your makeup on, whether you're male or female. I don't know. I didn't use makeup. Do you know that you use makeup?
Never. Okay. Oh, I'm lying.
Okay.
I'm lying to say that I've never put makeup on my face. It. So when I was in high school, I would have like a few like.
Please tell me it was lipstick.
I never got a lot of acne as a kid.
Okay.
Like I fortunately I never got a lot on my face, I should say.
By the way, your face is looking much better.
Oh, I appreciate that. I've been on medication.
Okay.
It's definitely
go back.
So I would get pimples from time to time, like kind of like on my temple line. I'd always get like a obnoxious one, like not just a little baby cute one where it's just like a little,
like a white cap.
No, it's like I fucked with it for a couple days, and now you're seeing like a fucked up fuck. Just like you
borderline scar.
Listen, people who pop pimples, you know when you fucked with the pimple too much. You know it. You reach that point where you were trying to pop it, it couldn't pop, and you're fucking squeezing, and you keep going, and you keep going, and you fucked your face up, and it wasn't even worth it because you didn't even pop it because it's so underneath the skin that you couldn't get it out.
It's too deep.
Anyways, I would have shit like that. Okay. 1 or 2 on the face, and my mom was like, "Oh, I got like cover up. It's like just dab a little of the cover up over the red blemish," and it. So that's what I would do. So if I had to ever, the not a ton of times, but the times that I've had an obnoxious like red fucking spot on my face,
okay,
I would dab it with a little bit.
You cared enough to put on some fucking
just a little bit
concealer. Is that what it's called?
No, it's cover up. It's actually called cover up. Well, and what I did was cover up a little bit of pimple, but there was a time or two where I saw myself in the mirror and I was like, damn, maybe I put too much because of the little bit of noticeable. And I was like, man, and then I didn't give a fuck anymore. And then fortunately, I don't get a pimple on my face like every so often, you know. So I never had facial acne up until fucking a year ago. It just started popping up. Like, what the fuck happened? It could be. It could be.
It wasn't steroid use. Anyways, this episode is brought to you by Sephora.
Yeah, right. Nah, I don't think so. Actually, maybe that was. Maybe that little cycle I did could have been.
Yeah, look, but back acne.
I've always had that.
Yeah, okay.
Always had back acne, and I have a cream for it now, but I haven't been like diligent with it.
Okay.
I haven't. So
do you reach back there and try to pop those?
Hell yeah.
Do you really?
Oh fuck yeah!
How?
Dude, my back, because
you do like the bear thing where you
know
rub
what's
your
interesting
back against a tree?
about my dexterity. I can't speak. I can only speak on mine. If I reach fully, I can get every inch of my back, whether it's over my shoulder or under. Whether I can aid. I can aid my arm.
Yeah.
Into other, because when I put that cream on, let's just say like if my girl doesn't do it, I put it on myself. I can get all the areas.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. It's like almost every inch can get from my neck to the middle. Almost my entire back can be touched.
Okay. By yourself.
By myself, yeah.
Because my back can be touched by myself or others.
Yeah, I need to get a fucking massage soon, like a real deal. Fucking get the fuck. And you know what I was thinking? Most people, when they do any kind of service, they tip at the end, right? Do you know what tip stands for?
I do not.
To ensure promptness. That's the original tip. So I learned that from...
Did it come before or after the meal?
That was the thing. You were supposed to tip before you got things to ensure promptness.
Interesting.
So tipping full circle, so the next time I go for a massage, I have a lot of theories on massage, but I feel like I'm going to try the method of tipping before I get the massage. Because if they already got $50, most people, what if you got a shitty massage because they're so used to not getting tipped and you're the brunt of that?
Yeah, you're right.
You
want to set yourself up for success.
You're the third massage of the day.
Yeah.
And nobody's tipped and you're just the fucking unlucky motherfucker. Right. Yeah. So you tip before you get it. Now let's say that doesn't work. Maybe I still get what I consider not a good one.
Okay.
You have to chalk it up to massage parlors. It's very, you can go by brand, yes, but that only goes so far because.
What do you mean by brand?
Let's say you go to a Massage Envy. There's like corporate brand. There's brands of like massage places.
Okay.
Even if you go to I don't know if you would go necessarily to Marge Croce for a massage, but it's more hair and shit. But anyways, you could always chalk it up to, it's always really the individual. How does that person, Jose, if I went in for a massage and you're my masseuse, how do you feel in that fucking hour? You know what I'm saying? Like so I chalk up all massage parlors. They're really all the same. They're all the same because it really depends on the individual giving you the massage at that time. Because I've had massages from the same person different days. They've all been different. I rated them all differently.
Sure. I
specifically went to this one place one time, and the first massage I got was on point.
You want to shout them out?
Fucking tipped fat. Everything was on point. This chick was like from Africa. She had like an accent. She was fucking in it, and she killed it. And my girlfriend, I'm like, that was awesome. I didn't even get her name. My girl was like, oh, what's her name so we can request her again. She thought further ahead than I did.
Yeah.
So I was like, I forget what her name was. So we called, and you know what's crazy? The next time I tried to get a massage, this chick was booked up. She was booked for weeks and weeks. I was like, okay, so I'm onto something.
Yeah.
She's obviously rated highly. People,
she knows what she's doing.
So, because she was even feeling, she was like, oh, your neck is tight. Your shoulders are fucking tight.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's crazy. I'm like, and I told her, us being painters, we're fucking, and me being, construction. It's just, shoulders is everything we use.
Right.
Shoulders and arms is everything we do. So, and then I was like, oh, the fact that I didn't have to say nothing. She could feel it and be like, oh, you have a crazy knot right here. I was like, okay, this chick knows what's up. Second time I got a massage, I was like, it was all right.
Same,
it was
same
nearly
girl?
same girl.
Okay.
Third time I got it was worse.
Oh, wow.
I got 3 times with the same chick, and the third time was worse than all of them. So I was like, it depends how the fuck they feel in that motherfucking moment. It doesn't matter what company they work for. It doesn't matter anything. Yeah. So how do you solve that problem?
Tip before.
Boom.
That's how you do it.
Boom. Now, you are taking the risk of a person still giving you a shitty massage, right? But think of what would you do if you're a masseuse? Somebody already tipped you $50, which is like a solid ass tip on a $120 massage, let's say. Yeah. Right? 50. That's a 45%. Fuck, it's 40%. Whatever. I don't even know if that's correct, but it's probably close. That person's, if they were a good person, which I try to give most people the benefit of the doubt, you would feel obligated. I just did something for you. Now, as a human, you have to reciprocate. It's like a human. It's an instinct we all have. You do something for me, I do something for you. I think it's ingrained in our fucking DNA. So I'm willing to take the risk of the next massage I get. I'm gonna tip before, and if it's still shitty, I'll let her know. Hey, you could have been, because you know what have you done a lot of massages?
I've never had an actual massage.
So if you break down what they're doing, like, they have to save their hands. Now, I understand this, right? They can't do all thumb work for fucking 90 straight minutes, right? Like, yes, that'd be ideal, but they can't do that. Their arms, they're fucking... I've given my girlfriend 10-minute massages. My hands are fucking killing me, right? Now, of course, you could build up, that muscle and that fucking... all that shit. But... they do those fucking fugazi moves where it's like the fucking forearm. It feels good on you, no doubt. But those are when they do those arm moves. Yeah. What that's really doing is I need to give my hands a break.
Okay.
I'm eating up time right now.
You're really thinking into this fucking massage.
Oh, I've dissected this.
Yeah. All right, go.
Because I've done enough of them and they all suck. Right? I have most of my massages have been shittier than the good ones.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Was the first one the best one? And then after that, everything was on a decline? Mm-mm. No, okay.
I've had...
So you've actually had massages, and then they eventually, at some point, peaked, and then they came down, and then they peaked again, and then...
What I think happens is, I think a lot of people, including myself, you're kind of afraid to tell people what you want and how you want it. There's been times where...
Wait, this is you?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
This is definitely me, but I think in a general, because every time I feel some way, I feel like, oh, I'm not the only person who's ever felt this way. I can almost speak for people who are afraid to say, oh, you're going too hard, or you're not going hard enough, or can you focus? Okay, maybe that those general statements are easier to say versus, can you focus more on my forearms? Saying that in the middle of a massage. You know what? Instead of doing my shoulders, can you focus more on my forearms?
Yeah.
That line is a lot harder to say in the moment, in my opinion. And I'm a person who's not afraid to talk to strangers, but like in the moment, it's just like, they're just doing their thing, and you can almost tell the rhythm of shit they do. Especially if you've ever gone to those like reflexology places, little Asian places where they like... My girlfriend really likes those places, right? The reflexology, they're called.
Reflexology.
And they'll do like... they do a light massage on all the muscles kind of thing, you know? And they're pretty cheap. They're always like relatively cheap. Like that's the whole thing. You go there because it's pretty cheap. Okay. And then, like my girlfriend she found the right place that has a lot of good people. Okay. And she found the people who she liked and be like, oh, I'm looking for Rose. They always, it's so funny, this Asian place, like a very, I'm gonna assume Chinese, okay? Okay. They all had American ass names. Jeff. Like, dude, I swear to God, there's a dude.
There's a Dave.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, bro, you're Asian ass. Like, you're not named Jeff, dude. No.
Maybe.
Not even close. Anyway, so She had this lady, her name was Rose, that was her favorite, and she was like a little bit old lady, but she would like get in there, and she was so good. My girlfriend's like, no, you're gonna get Rose.
Okay, cool.
And I was like, eh. So maybe I'm too like harsh on like, I'm too critical when it comes to massages.
Well, no, on everything, I think.
Maybe
a little bit, yeah. Because
because if somebody's gonna say something is good, I better think it's good. If it's not, if it doesn't live up to expectation, I don't know. When it comes to massages, I
want to say something about that.
It could be a me thing. It could be like I need to be like, no, listen, I have forearm, because this is true. Like I have forearm problems, gripping things, always like working, all that shit, working out, all that.
Okay.
I have a lot of fucking forearm. I honestly just want to be like, yo, I want 30 minutes on this forearm and then 30 minutes here. I've never done that. Like, I need to just be like real straightforward. This is what I'm paying my money for. I know, like, it might be called an upper body work, like whatever you want to call it. I want from my fingertip to my elbow rubbed for 30 minutes. I'm paying you for an hour. I want 30 minutes on this hand from my tips to my fucking elbow, and get the fuck in there with your thumbs and and both arms. That's what I'm paying the hour for. I need to be a little more direct like that.
What's the problem?
You're right. I don't know. I guess it's experience getting not enough of what you want. Then you're like, okay, they've all been decent, but there's times where it's like, meh.
Do you think you're a little too bougie?
I don't know.
I think
maybe it's like, maybe they're at some level. I'm like, if I was a masseuse, I'd be really good at it. So I expect everyone to be really good at it.
All right. So here's the one thing that I noticed about you. All right.
Break it down. Tell me.
You always have this look, and I don't know if you know, but I'm not really too afraid of saying shit.
Okay.
Do you think that's true or not?
No. Okay. True.
Yeah. All right. So. What I notice about you is when people talk or you ask for something, you always give them a look of like they served you something that you didn't want. This is like a constant look on your face. You're always like, I don't know if that's what I wanted. I mean, I ordered that, but I'm not sure. And it's always like, it's slightly disgust. It's slightly like,
so you think
I'm offended at your answer, or...
It's a negative. So
yeah,
what you're saying is that the first thing I have a reaction to is more of a negative reaction.
Yes. I do think you have a closer to a female mentality.
Because that's pretty funny. Because I was thinking about. I saw a video yesterday, and it's. Do you know who the rapper Logic is?
Yes.
So
the black guy.
Well, he's 50-50.
He's black.
But no, he's
white.
Yeah,
he looks like a white person.
I was gonna say, if you're, yes, he is black, but
he is black.
He looks very white. But my point was, he had a video of him asking Alexa. He's like, Alexa, what? I forgot the questions he asked, but it was like, Alexa, what's logic like stand for? And it was like this really really nice, glowing review of who Logic is via Alexa, meaning anyone, if anyone in the world asked that exact question, that answer would have been given. And he asked two things, and Alexa said really positive, like nice things about Logic. He's a conscious rapper who talks about issues, blah blah. And then he turns to me, he's like, I like that perception. I like what people's perception of me is. And then I thought to myself, I was like, oh yeah, like what is people's perception of me? Right? What do people like? I know it's probably
like 99% positive.
Right. And I know that. And it's like, it'd be interesting to ask people like, what is your perception of me? Because I know what I think I am, right? I know what I try to give, I try to perceive, I try to give people like, I know what I try to project, I should say. But it doesn't mean that everyone perceives it the same way. So that's a whole interesting thing to think about. It's like, and it's hard to ask people like, how do you perceive me? Because some people might not say the 100% truth. So how do you know how you're ever really truly perceived?
If you ask. I think you got to ask a person right at the moment when you introduce yourself. And they don't really know you.
Sure.
And they don't have
their first reactions of you.
They're just true first impressions. Like, we worked with a guy, he's retired now, but everybody hated him on his first impression. But I was like, give him a chance, man. This dude he's an awesome dude. He's just a piece of shit the first hour you meet him.
Do you think that you can consciously affect somebody's first impression of you?
I think that's what it is, but it's done subconsciously. Can you do it in a way where you fake it for a little while, right? I think you can fake it for a little while, but how are you going to keep it up when there's like different circumstances that you can't control occur?
Well, I'll give you an example because this is something I've thought about before. There was a time where I think you can. So to answer my own question I asked you, I think you can, and you're right as well. I think you can call to a certain energy. You can call to it if that's what you want to like. I want to project this. I think you could do it, but it can only work for so long if that's not your real person. Because sometimes, like, if you're not an outgoing person, it's hard to command an outgoing person when you're in a situation.
Right.
I consider myself a person who likes to be social, and I can be the center of attention, although I don't seek it. I mean, I can't command the attention of a room. There has been times where I've been like energy, like just slouched over. I feel energy less.
Sure.
So there has been a time where I've called to my higher energy self, right? So I literally, before walking in the room, I took a deep breath and I was like, I want to feel light. I want to feel like people want to talk to me, and I want to feel high energy. And I literally did this before we did a little Friendsgiving around Thanksgiving time, and my girlfriend had a couple of her friends over, and a lot of the times, like, I'm the one cracking jokes, and I'm the one who's kind of, so like I wanted to make sure I brought that, like I wanted to make sure so I was like, I took that breath. I'm like, I want to make sure people think that I'm present, and I'm, and then they feel like, energy difference because this person's in the room. So I literally commanded that, or literally thought to it. And I literally took a deep breath, and I walked in the room, and then her two friends were sitting on the couch, and I talked to them, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And I brought just fucking good energy. And I went to the kitchen and saw my girlfriend was still cooking and still doing shit. And I walked through and said hellos. And then literally the friends were like, Dino, I love your energy that you're bringing to the fucking room. And I was like, well, thanks for it's noticing that, because I literally had a conscious thought about how I'm going to bring the energy in the room, how I'm going to be perceived as people. So yeah. I think that's that's a real ass thing, dude.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, so I think, but if you're an introvert, if you're naturally that, I don't know if, maybe you can summon it. I can only speak on myself. And like I said before, I went through that door. I went through that checklist. I wonder if a person who's traditionally quiet and more reserved, if they went through that exact same checklist, can they be that person? Can they walk in and light up a room? Because we know that, right? You've been in that. You have friends. people
right.
that when they walk in, it's like, that person's awesome. I love that person. It's not a palpable. It's not like a thing you can't put your finger on, like what it is about that person. It's just when they come in, they light up a room. Everyone wants to talk to them. The energy shifted. It's like, what is that? What is that about people?
Yeah. No, I mean,
can you summon it? You think?
I think that you can. I think there are people who can actually summon that. What I will say about myself, which I am an introvert. So I've had 2 weeks where I've been pretty much off.
Mm-hmm.
And I've needed it because I don't know if my body was going through something, and I don't know if you don't know, but I spent Christmas Day in the hospital.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I had like crazy thoughts, and I just stuff was going through my head, but also I was getting like, I don't know if the thoughts were affecting like my body, but I was aching, and I was aching in such a way where I had to check myself in. I was like
a panic attack?
no panic, pain, literal pain.
Where in your body?
Lower back, arms, back of my legs, like almost like, I don't know, man. It was like
a flu,
like a weight. Like my body was being compressed. And I don't know if it was stress or whatever, but anyways, I was pretty much off. Like, I was off. But here's what I will say about certain things. Like, when I know that I'm going to go to a party, there's certain music that I put on. Like, wherever I walk, wherever I exist, there's constant theme music playing in my head. And sometimes the theme music, I can't control it, and it's just bummed out music. And when that music turns bummy, that's when I go in my room and I'm like, I need to fucking change this thing. But sometimes it has to play all the way through for me to be able to get through that shit. And it's like, obviously, everybody's different, but for me, that's what occurs. And it's like, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to bring this person around anybody, because this person is a piece of shit right now. And I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that person. That person is, I hate that person. But it happens.
Do you think that it's, you know how they talk about the seasonal, what is it?
Yeah.
It's called SAD. Or
seasonal affective disease or something.
Disorder or whatever.
Yeah, disorder. Yeah, whatever it is. Maybe. Do you think, I've never been diagnosed.
Okay, have you thought that maybe it's a vitamin or chemical imbalance in you, where maybe something you're not getting in your diet is lacking right now, and it's making a chain reaction to negative thoughts? And the only reason why I say that is like, so I think about like vitamin D. We live in the Midwest and Chicago. It's like, dude, the winter months suck. It's like, everyone can feel it. You're just a little bit more lethargic. You're just a little bit more just easily depressed, and you can't really you can't quite put your finger on why you feel off.
Right.
That just off feeling, right? With all of us Midwesterners, we get that fucking off feeling. When it rains, it's gloomy, and you never saw sunshine. There's just a little part of your human body that's like off, right?
For sure.
So that can be, maybe it can be counteracted. Let's say if you're having a vitamin D, let's say deficiency, maybe you could take vitamins for it. The vitamin D can counteract that imbalance, because really our moods, I mean, I'm no fucking scientist, but like our moods, really it's just a chemical in your brain, right? It's like what chemical is flooding in your brain in that moment. Right. That you're feeling, right? Because you're on drugs and let's say you're on ecstasy. Well, yeah, dude, your endorphins are fucking going through the roof and you feel great, right? So what I'm thinking is that in the times when you're really, really depressed, what led up to that? Maybe you didn't eat well for 3 straight days in a row. Straight bullshit food.
Yeah.
And, maybe you got 0 exercise in 3 straight days. It's like, some people, they go fucking months, years without working out. Just, think about that. It's like, that's what, especially when you eat right and you have a healthy diet, you change the chemicals in your brain. You give your better self, you give your brain the best chance to feel good when you put good fuel in. Amen. And you get exercise.
Yes, absolutely.
So I feel like a lot of the times when people are feeling off, it's like something isn't right. It's either your diet's not right, and most likely your fucking exercise routine is not right.
Yeah.
Exercise needs to be a part of the fucking human pyramid.
Yes.
You know how we used to have a food group? Remember that? The fucking
we still have it.
Fugazi ass food group. It's not even probably real.
There's chips on the top.
Right. And it's like grains, and it's like, dude, grains, we can go into how fucking grains are bad for the human, but working out, just like stressing your body, aka working out,
It's monumental.
it's a part of the human experience, because we're not hunting and gathering anymore.
Nope.
We used to need to do that. We used to be a part of a small fucking band of people or a small group of people, and everyone had their fucking role, and everyone had to be able to move at any time because there was no fixed fucking area.
That's right.
You dried up the area of resources, and then you move to the next fucking place. That's in our DNA. That is our part of our evolution story. Now, in modern age, we have cubicles, and we have people who literally don't exert any energy throughout the whole workday, right? Most of us, almost every person has a work day, right? There's very, 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 very few people who actually don't have a work day. The far majority that have a work day, a lot between that percentage, a lot of them don't move. They don't fucking move all fucking day. There's some people who walk to their car, drive to the office, walk to the elevator, go to the office, all completing 300 steps tops.
Yep.
What if our requirement is 10,000 a day and you're getting 300?
Yep.
That's gonna have some chemical fucking problems in your brain long term. You're gonna start having this built up shit that you don't know what it is, and it turns into anger.
Yep.
It turns into me bitching on fucking Twitter about this thing. But what it is like, I'm not exerting my energy. I'm not getting the right diet. And it's manifesting into me being angry and going on Twitter and fucking this. Right? So, I don't know, man. It's just like, I probably, and this is just me, I'm a dumb person, really. And there's no medical. I think a lot of problems, if you solve exercise and diet first, if you solve those problems first, you're not going to have the pills, all the other pills. Now, not 100%. Yes, people are going to be born with some defects and they need this kind of pill, whatever. Yes. But, dude, if you took the fucking percentage of all the people on these pills, if they solved diet and exercise, they wouldn't be on them.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
and it's like, how do you get people to fucking know that and understand that?
I think there's going to be a subset of society that is going to understand that. And I don't know what it takes for them to do that. But obviously it has to start really early in your life. If you didn't have the type of leadership, you know what I mean? If you didn't have the leadership to be able to get you to that point, then you have to do that for yourself. And so many people are lost in such a way that they have no idea how to fucking start or even get going. There's moments where I don't feel like getting out of bed. I just don't feel like doing anything. And honestly, those days I do feel like a loser. And I talk very negative to myself on those days.
Yeah, but do you know on those days, it is the most important to get up.
You're right.
And go work out.
You're right.
Dude, that is it.
So right.
That, I know. Like, that is it. Like, that's the game. It's like your body, the way we've evolved is your body does not want to be stressed out. It would love to get fat.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we're such fat gaining machines.
Yep.
Right? It doesn't want to be stressed out. When you work out, you're stressing your body. It's a very natural feeling to not want to work out. Your body doesn't want to go through that stress. But the whole point is you put it through that stress and then you come out stronger.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, if you ask all the gym enthusiasts, if you ask all the fitness people, if you ask all the bodybuilders, they do not want to go to the gym every day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Some days feel much better than others.
Right.
There is a lot of days where you're like, it's snowing outside. I'm extremely tired. I did not sleep well last night. I ate a shitty dinner last night. I had a shitty work day. It's fucking snowing outside. It's so cold. I don't even want to start my car. Those are the most important days to get through.
Right.
Because when you go through it and you get to the gym and you get that workout in, when you're done, that feeling is like, this is why I did it. I feel fucking great because I'm not a bitch. I'm not gonna let little snow or the way I feel. I'm not gonna let that get in the way of my goal. Like the way I feel, like, yeah, listen, man, if you fucked your arm up lifting a heavy weight and you pop something, that's one thing. But if you're like a little sore, or you're a little tired, like, dude, you gotta push through that little pussy fuck. That's the difference between a fucking hard dude and a motherfucker who gets shit done versus a person who doesn't. That's right. It's like, I don't know, man. It's funny. This is a perfect segue into one of my other goals of 2023 and something I thought about.
This is your resolution part.
I'm not going to complain about a motherfucking thing all year.
But you just gave a whole spew about how motherfuckers don't go to the gym, though.
No, that's not me complaining. What I'm saying is, I'm not going to complain about anything. This whole fucking year, I'm not going to let anyone know that something bothered me. In my thought about that is
I like it, though. I like it.
Almost everything can be tracked back to it. Actually, it's your fault. Right?
Oh, okay. Tell me
you can track everything to being your fault in some way.
I like it.
Okay, let's say... Okay, the first my example I can think of is, let's say you're in high school and you have a group project. Okay?
Yep.
It's 4 people. And all 4 people have 25% of the project. Right? You're relying on 3 other people to do their 25%. Right? If you, let's say, you just did your 25% and you did it the day you're supposed to do, you checked in the day you're supposed to do, and you showed up the day you're supposed to do, and 3 people show up but 1 person doesn't, that fucked your whole thing up. What if they call that incomplete and you get a F?
It's possible that would happen.
That's your fault.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you didn't check up on everybody. You could have called are you do good with yours? Yes, I did mine. Did you do your shit? Yeah, I did good mine. The third person, did you do yours? No, I'm struggling. Whoa. We need to do all of our parts, because if you don't do your part, we fail.
Yep.
So it's your job to make sure that 4th person is doing it. Does that mean I got to drive to his house and fucking hold his hand doing it? Well, yeah, that's what that means. Because if you failed, that was your fault. Now, most people would tell you, no, it's that guy's fault. No, dude. If you want to hope everyone is going to do their part, you're going to be let down so motherfucking often. So often if you rely on people to do their fucking part. So, if you, let's say you showed up to work late and let's say you were going to work and there's a crazy motherfucking accident on the highway and it's something you haven't seen in a while. It's a 30-minute delay. Now you're late for work. And let's say your fucking boss was just looking for a fucking reason to fire you.
Yep.
That 30-minute tardiness is your fault. It's not the traffic. It's not the accident. Because if you had a rule that you left an hour before work, that you factored in a 30-minute accident, then you would have been good. You'd have your job still. So, everything can be fucking turned back on you, no matter what the fuck it is. So, I think when you own it up like that, I think you're more in control of your destiny. I don't know how we got to that point. I don't know.
No, I do like it. Can I push back?
Yeah, please.
All right. So there are some systems that are set up for you not to make it. And obviously, sometimes we are a little bit of a conspiracy podcast.
Name an example.
I don't have like a specific example, but
like
let me think about it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
All right, let me see. For instance, if you're a kid that grew up in the barrio, en el barrio, see, you know what I'm saying?
Like the slums.
If you grew up in the slums,
okay,
it's gonna take for you to work 2, 3, or 4 times harder to try and get out. So you gave a scenario of a project that 4 people were involved, and each individual person had to do 25% of the work. Now, what if you grew up in a household where every single one of your individual people who live with you is addicted to some type of drug, some type of alcohol, or has some type of mental illness, whether it be the smallest type, which is, I don't know, narcissism or whatever. And then everywhere you go, all you hear is the most corrupting, sad level of music. So it makes it so hard for you to get out. There isn't much work. You don't have any kind of financial backing. You didn't get the best genes to be able to push out of there, right? You don't have the type of mental power to get out. And if so what I'm saying is, like, sometimes you're born so far back from the starting line that it takes for you to not do 25% of the project, but the whole 100% of the project, because you started so far back from that mile marker where the start line is.
What I would say is the very first step is an awakening. You have to know that, oh fuck, I'm in control of my destiny, right? That's a certain level of awareness. Once you finally like figure out that, oh shit, like I can choose to do things that affect my future, right? So the first step, let me preface all this by saying I understand that I started from the middle. My parents both worked, and this is just my level of perception. So let me start off with saying that. But if you're starting from a really lower place,
sure, than
I did, like I said, the first step is just trying to become aware of becoming awareness, right? Becoming self-aware is so many levels. We can get into that.
Let me stop you there. How can you become aware of your surroundings unless there's some type of miraculous, God-given something or other that occurs to give you that spark for takeoff?
Okay, valid. Most likely there's a blueprint already.
Yeah.
Somebody got out of your village and did something.
Yeah.
Most likely. So, if you at least, and that's what I'm saying, maybe that's the first seed of awareness, is somebody got out of this thing. Okay? Even if 99% of the people you see are a part of this culture or whatever this thing is keeping you down, because all they know, you do know of stories that people got out, right? So the first step, I think, would be like, okay, people can get out, right? That's the first seed. Then you have to start thinking of, well, how did they get out? Well, maybe this person, is some kind of gift that you don't have, right? So it's like, oh, maybe they were an incredible singer and somehow they got extremely lucky and they got... Well, you see that's the way out. Well, in your pursuit of understanding, like, how did they get out, I think we'll start getting the wheels turning that, oh, well, I can't be a singer, but maybe produce, like, it gets I think you have to become aware and find out what the seed is to get out, and then follow it. And just because you're not going in the same trajectory as that seed, I think that still gets you to a new level of like, well, okay, I can't be a singer, but I can be a this. I can do a this. And the only way you got to that idea was because I seen somebody get out of my area. I don't have to be what everybody else is doing, right? So you have to see the first option. You have to see you have to be given the first seed of like, I can do something else. I think that's a part of the awareness. That's a part of the waking up. Then you could be like, well, if you can become some more and more, and that, like I said, that's a seed of awareness. Then you start questioning more things like, why do everyone do this? If maybe I'm speaking more of the now, like there's no excuse not to have information because all of us have cell phones, and even a lot of third world, like a lot of people have cell phones. Like I don't know the exact number of there's 8 billion people and how many people have cell phones. I would say more than half. Would you say more than half?
I would agree with more than half of the world.
So, and now it's like, I mean, I guess in China and certain places you're restricted to what information you're given.
Sure.
But I just feel like you have to be given the first idea of I can do better. If that seed is planted in you, it could sprout in many, many, many different ways.
Yeah.
But that's the first step is like, I can do better. And now, like with the phones and the internet, it's like, there's so many blueprints of like, what do you want to do? Because you can follow legitimately like a blueprint, like a Mark Cuban. He's told how I went from selling stamps to opening up a bar to having the first online sports, all the sports scores in one place. And you could follow like his trajectory. Like there's blueprints out there. So like I feel like people can do it.
No, I 100% I believe that people can do it. And people have done it. And I gave the example of somebody coming from like a Latino barrio or somebody growing up in a black ghetto. But what about people that are in third world countries? Like you mentioned,
mm-hmm.
Someone like from the village of Francis Ngannou. Like that level, I think that it doesn't just take something miraculous, but it actually does. It takes a miracle. It would take like a heavenly intervention to be able to get you to that point. And I think that that's why some of those archetypes of godly exist.
There has to, okay, so you think of yourself. Think if you were born in a place and you had the self-awareness or the knowledge to know that like there's better places. Like I can be in a different place if I chose to. Like Francis Ngannou, he took all those, like he made a choice like I'm gonna make it to America.
Yeah,
that's my 100% life goal right now. That's the only thing that matters. I don't care how often I eat.
Now he is an outlier though.
What I'm saying is no, he's millions of people.
We're talking about close to a 7 foot tall.
No. His idea, his dream is millions of people.
Yeah, but if it's everybody. They all want to be better.
But in coming to America is that promise that you're going to do better, and you have all the potential to do better. So my point is, if you born in a third world country, the first thing you need to do is know that you're in a shitty. The self-awareness is first, because then you can explore options. What are my most people don't know options. They just think, this is what I do, this is what I have to do, and this I'm going to die here, and I only know here.
Yeah.
The first step is knowing there's something else out there. I can do better. That's a level of awareness that not everyone has. So the first level is that. Then, if you're in a third world and you can't do, how the fuck am I going to get to America? that is the next step. So if that takes you 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to figure out how you're going to get to America, well, so be it. That's your fucking, that's it. That's your whole goal. That's your whole being. That's every thought. That's, I'm sleeping, I'm going here, I'm talking to this person because I can go here. That's everything. So that's the blueprint. So then you get to America. Okay, boom. You're from a third world country, and now you made it to America. What the fuck do you do? Well, chances are you probably don't know the language very well, right?
Yeah. If you're from a third world country.
Hopefully, if you had the idea of coming to America, hopefully maybe there was some kind of way for you to learn it before you come in here. That's probably not privy to everyone. Understandable. But once you get here, it's like, it's not that hard to find a job. I don't care what anybody says. If you apply to every McDonald's, every fast food, everything in your vicinity, if you're from another country and you just applied every place, you had the
once you're here.
Let's say you made it here.
Okay.
I don't know what you would do necessarily if you came here from zero and you don't even have some kind of weird cousin you could find in Florida or whatever state, and that could give you at least some place to fucking sleep.
Sure.
That's an interesting concept to try to think about.
And this is us assuming that you have no mental problems.
Right.
That you're safe and of sound mental state, that you can be able to like develop all these things according to.
Okay, let's
step by step.
Let's dive into it. So let's say you made it from Mexico, or you made it from whatever, Ghana, you made it from whatever country.
Okay.
Let's say you're a single. Let's say maybe you're a father and you got 2 kids at home and you got a wife back in the country.
Yeah.
Let's say you made it to excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Let's say you made it to America. Boom. You made it. You're good. Now you're like, okay, work, money. That's the next step. How do you solve that problem? What do you think you do? Do you think you just go to... Because obviously maybe most people who come from another country at least have a friend who came to the country. Maybe there's some kind of secondhand knowledge they already have. Maybe, let's say, Mexicans already know, hey, if you go to any random restaurant and you say, I'm looking for work, you have a better chance. Do you think that maybe they already have that? Like,
it's possible. It's possible that,
right?
Like each scenario is possible. There might be a scenario where they don't have that.
Okay, let's go to that then. Let's say you have zero knowledge, you have zero hookup, you have zero.
So you came from another country, you don't know the language, and you don't know anyone at the place where you're currently at.
You're 100%
but you came from third world and now you're in this country.
Okay.
Milk and honey.
What do you think? What is the next step? So you have to find employment. So I would imagine just going literally door to door. What do you like? Do you even know what doors to knock on? Meaning, do you know to, traditionally, like, landscaping is a more Mexican thing. Do you know to find landscapers? And
all right, let's do this. Let's change it up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You,
mm-hmm.
All right, you came over from a different country.
Okay.
You don't know the language. You don't have friends. What's your first step?
Unfortunately, it's going to be a little skewed because I do know the language and I do know what
let's imagine. This is a mental thought.
Okay, so what I think I would do, let's say I made it to Texas, right? That seems to be like a closest place I made it to. I guess you have to, like, if you have skills doing things, not knowing the language is a crazy concept. But then again, bordering countries usually have bordering language. Like, there's a lot of Mexican Latino Spanish speaking people in Texas, right? So if you're Mexican going to Texas, chances are you can speak to a Mexican person who can figure out what you're asking.
But in this scenario, you don't know the language.
Man, that's a fucking crazy question. Because, like, what the fuck do you? Oh man, okay. Well, first thing is you're gonna have to learn some words.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna have to learn the most basic. Okay, if you're starting from fucking absolute zero, I'm talking you don't know not a goddamn word. Yeah. Let's just say. You're going to have to start off with your words and then hand signals, right?
Sure.
You're going to have to be like, if you don't know how to say I'm hungry, you're going to do a fucking hand gesture to your mouth and maybe a stomach rub.
And hopefully no one confuses it for blowjob.
That's true. But my imagination is like you're gonna have to like doing gestures. You're gonna have to get with the fucking gestures.
It's more like this and not this.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have to figure out the word for like work and job and whatever. Like, yeah, man, that's a crazy. I'm having that live thought right now.
That's because you're coming from a middle class.
Yeah.
Here's the first thing I would do.
Okay.
I would find garbage cans.
Okay.
I would find where the garbage is.
Why?
Just to get some sustenance. Okay. Then I would think about.
Dude, your first thought is to eat garbage, dude?
I don't have any money. I don't know the language. I don't know anybody.
What if you're not even hungry yet?
Well, you have to think about it. You have to think about it. You know you need sustenance. You need energy, right? And you're going to be... Your first thought is survival.
Yeah, but aren't you... Okay, if you're making the travel, aren't you packing? You're going to be like, I need food for 3 days.
Sure.
You're going to have a backpack full of something.
Sure, but now you're at the point where you've exhausted all your
do you think
what you brought with you.
Do you think people come here from zero or do they?
Yes.
That's hard, dude. That's tough, man.
It's really tough. So,
but no. Okay, before they leave, they talk to people. They talk to family. They talk to people, locals, whatever. I'm gonna go to America. I'm going to fucking Chicago.
Yeah.
There is gonna be probably somebody within that community who's gonna tell you, go to Berwyn. If you go to Chicago, go to Berwyn. There's a high Polish. Let's say you're a Polish person. There's a high Polish fucking community. So if you're gonna go to America, go for Berwyn. Aim for Berwyn. When you hit Berwyn, then you can start navigating because a lot of people speak Polish. That's what I think. At least people... It's crazy to think that you're starting from zero. You just picked the most random town, America. I feel like everyone who came here at least fucking heard of a community that might embrace them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Berwyn... Dude, I've heard this from Mexicans that in Mexico they know that if Berwyn is very Mexican, so make it to Berwyn and you're okay. And that's conversation within Mexico. So like, I firmly believe now more than I speak it out loud. When you decide to come to America, it's not absolutely zero. At the very least, there's somebody said, hey, there's a big fucking Iranian culture in fucking Texas. Go to Texas, and then you figure out shit. But at least you can go there, speak to some native people. You're most likely going to run into somebody. But hey, man, I'm fucking fresh off the boat. I'm trying to find some work. And do you have any idea? That person can at least point you in the right... You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So...
I mean, we can make this scenario as scary as possible. We can say you're a girl, You grew up in your country. Your parents both died. Your family didn't care for you. You're all alone. The only way out was to get out. You have to use your methods. You have to use your body to try and get to the next step. And hopefully when you make it to America, you haven't been so used and abused that you're broken, no longer the person you were when you first left. And so you have to use what you have at the time. I imagine that when you get here, you have to get people's trust. You have to get food. How are you going to do that? Obviously, like you said, you have to change your energy somehow. You have to find the strength to change your energy. You got to get substance. You got to get water. You got to somehow be able to stay clean and healthy from disease, cold, water, rain. You know what I'm saying? There's all these scenarios that we don't get to think about because we come from this land of milk and honey. And even though we have like different economical levels, like people come from different we have poor, middle class, we have super extreme poor, we have homeless, we have mental illness, we have all these things. But hopefully you go through all these horrors and you move into a barrio, and and eventually these people make it out. Some people make it out where they get a job, and then they have kids, and then their kids they grow up in some situations where it's not quite the healthiest home, but it's way better than where the mom and dad came from. And there's these subsets in society that the people, there's just immense suffering everywhere, and just like in this new year, when we make all these resolutions, maybe one of them should be like, help out somehow, some way. I don't know. Like reach out to a friend, help somebody on the street. Actually, today, I had to buy a printer.
Okay.
So on my way here,
HP or what,
bro? I have to print out some paperwork that I need to sign. I have to pencil sign it. It's coming from Florida.
You could have just did that through Office Max. Just emailed it and printed it there.
I guess I could have, but where the fuck is there an Office Max?
True.
Exactly.
Oh, actually,
Kinko's?
I can't remember. I think there's one in Berwyn actually.
An Office Max.
Yeah.
Real still?
Is it next
to that Blockbuster?
Yeah, right. No, it's actually, which is funny because it's the old Circuit Center. Remember Circuit Center?
Circuit City.
Circuit City. Boom. You got it.
I do remember.
So the location where the Office Max is currently is the old the old Circuit City.
Okay, so maybe I'll do. Anyways, it's too late because I went to Walmart and I bought a printer. So now I'm gonna go home and I don't know what I gotta do. Upload drivers or whatever I have to do.
Do you think you're gonna use that printer?
Probably never again. But for this one situation, it's cost me $70. Anyways, so as I was putting this printer in my car, which is sitting in my car right now, this homeless dude came up to me. He was selling gum.
Like gumballs?
Gum. He had gum, like Mexican gum.
Like chiclets?
Like chiclets. He's literally selling chiclets. And I looked at him and
Just that?
Yeah.
What did he say exactly?
He's like, hey.
Yo quiero chiclets?
No, he was like, do you want to buy gum? He's like, do you speak Spanish? Would you like to buy gum? And I was like, listen, I don't have
What was he
cash.
selling it for?
I'm sure to eat.
No. The price of it.
Oh, I don't remember. What I did tell him is, look, I don't carry cash.
What do you think?
All I have is this credit card with tons of money on it.
If you had to guess, how much money do you think he made that night?
$2.
Psych. Come on.
Dude, how could he... Who's buying chiclets in a
people
Walmart parking lot?
You asked... Listen.
When was the last time you bought chiclets?
If you asked like 15 people...
Okay.
To buy this thing. Nobody actually wants the thing, but at least one person's gonna feel sorry and be like, "Oh, I was in Mexico when I went for that wedding, and we were in this bar, and this kid came in with fucking pistachios. He was selling these little pistachios.
Oh, I like pistachios.
We bought his whole shit out." This fucking kid, like, we made his week. It's like a few of us. We just bought all his stuff. It was like fucking a few dollars. Made his whole week. That motherfucker, he looked for us. Every time he saw us, he came and tried to sell us some shit. And, you know, it's like, I don't know. I think to myself, it's like, what do you think they're actually making on that money? In America is one thing. Like, I know in Mexico, it's like, dude, that little money we gave them was everything. But, like, here, it's like he's selling you... What was he selling you?
Chiclets.
Okay, chiclet. Like, how much money can he be unless he stole it? Now, that makes more sense. If you stole 100% of your goods and you're selling gum, then maybe you can make some money. But, like, how much money can you possibly, like, hope to make off gum?
I don't know. It depends on the percentage and how often you're out there hustling for it, right? Because I would hate to find out that this dude is part of this cartel that sells fucking chiclets and somebody at the top is making millions of dollars, which is an unlikely scenario.
No
but
way.
I'm just saying.
Nah, dude. I feel like there's certain people who they like steal flowers off graves and then they go in bars and try to sell them. Oh. Like, that's definitely a real thing.
Okay. Hypothetically speaking, do you know this person, and is this person in this room?
I have never.
Okay.
Nobody's ever told me that, but the fact that I think of it means that other people thought of it. And it's definitely a grift.
Sure.
It's got to be a grift. Like, there's no way that I'm the original thinker of, like, if I was a bum, I would go to...
Bro, if you're making that investment, the payoff in the afterlife, if there is an afterlife...
I feel like if you're a bum, you feel like fuck God. No, dude, you're not even.
That's when you need them the most,
dude. They don't. There's no way. I guarantee, dude. If you took
is your middle class.
If you took all the bums and you asked them what their religion was, I don't think most of them would even fucking answer you.
Bro, your white privilege is just like, cheese.
That'd be funny. Your white privilege is shown, bro.
No, it's like fucking glaring. It's like
I'm just saying what I think. The last thing on a bum's mind is fucking religion, dude. They're thinking of how am I gonna get high, how am I gonna get food, and where am I gonna sleep. Well, God fucked. If anything, they're thinking God fucked me. I'm in this position because of God. If anything, they're the most anti-God.
No, let's go back. You said it's your fault.
That's me, motherfucker. That's how I think. That's not how everyone thinks. And you think bums think it's their fault they're there? No. They think it's fucking God's fault. They think it's the war's fault. They think it's fucking the government's fault. They think it's the fucking system's fault. No. Not everyone thinks like I do.
You know, I know that for sure. I understand, but using your scenario, it boils down to their own fucking fault.
I think it's their fault they're in that position.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Hold on.
Exhibit
A. Hold on. Other than extremely mentally ill people, because there are some mentally ill people who had their parents taking care of them their whole life.
Yeah.
Then the parents die, and now the state's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And now they're on the street. So there's a lot of mentally ill people who shouldn't, they got fucked and gone. I understand that. But a lot of them, it's choices. It's a lot of choices led up to that shit.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like I haven't, out of, let's say if you took the entire bum, every bum that I've seen with my eyes visually, if I took all of them and let's say it was a count of 5,000. Okay, let's say I've seen 5,000 bums with my eyes visually versus all the times I've been driving, all the times I'm walking, whatever. I've seen a bum with my eyeballs.
Okay.
Out of how many of them are drug dependent?
Upwards of 90%.
92%.
Yeah, upwards of 90%.
92. I would say that so confidently because if you're me and you, right?
Yeah.
Let's say we lost our job, we fell into a crazy depression, we lost our house, we just lose everything.
Yeah.
We would have the wherewithal to go to those programs. There's plenty of programs out there for people for this exact reason, are hard on their times. But a lot of those places come with stipulations, like you got to pass a drug test and you got to be, whatever, and you can't have whatever. It's mostly actually drug related. It's more, can you pass a drug test or not?
Right.
And we would get that better. Like, we can go to halfway houses. We would find places to sleep. We would have food. We would be taken care of.
Right.
But there's a lot of people who don't want to get beat. They're hooked on drugs, which I understand that. They got hooked on it. They're hooked. They cannot stop taking heroin.
Right.
But there's a lot of, it's just choices, man. I feel like choices led you to that position. It led you to getting hooked. And at some level, you're hooked. And I understand, maybe I don't fully understand that you could step away from that. But it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like the most desperate, there's a lot of fucking choices that led up to that position.
Yes.
It's not
Some
fucking
might not necessarily be yours.
Right. Well, explain.
Well, for instance, you were born to some parents who were extremely abusive, sexually, mentally, physically. Obviously, they were unable to give you the right type of tools to have you build your life. And if you were born into a family that's, I don't know, there's like inbred families in like rural Virginia. Mm-hmm. Like they don't get to start at the start line. These people start miles behind the start line. And their whole life, they'll push forward as hard as they can, and they'll never get to the point where we started off at. And our mile marker push, maybe we won't make it to we're not going to make it to the 1%, right? Because statistically, we weren't born in the right type of families. We're not the right color. But there are some people that are born so far back from this start line that even in their tremendous push, never even make it to an actual life.
I hear you, and I completely understand what you're saying. At the same time, I think all of us, we have to understand it is what it fucking is.
It is what it is. We
are not all starting at the same place. I wasn't born in Africa. No. I wasn't born in the jungles.
You lucky motherfucker.
We had a podcast about what makes you grateful.
Yeah.
That is always one of the things I think of. I was born in America as a white male. Yeah. I am so lucky in that regard alone. It's almost unmeasurable when you think of the entire population of 8 billion people.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm a white male born in America to a middle class family with loving parents, both parents in my life a majority of my childhood, loving, not crazy, none of that crazy shit. Dude, 1%. That's 1%.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I understand, dude, believe me, I understand that. I understand that more than most about people who are born in, most people don't even, dude, most activists in America bitching about America, blah, blah, all these millennials, all these Gen Z, all these people who are going crazy. They have that level of revolution and that level of mentality only because our country is so great.
Yeah.
They only pick out all the bullshit because there's nothing to bullshit about. Our country is great.
Yeah.
We have options. We have freedom. That is, There's 300, maybe there's 400 million people in our country. There's 7 billion people, or 8 billion people in the world. Not all of them have human freedom of rights, of just like saying what you want. We could talk as much shit as we want about Biden. As much as we want, as long as we want, until our fucking voices don't work anymore.
Yep.
You say some shit about the fucking Saudi fucking government, you're dead within the fucking month.
Yeah, if you're in Saudi.
yeah.
Because we could talk shit all we want here.
Right. You're in Russia talking shit about Putin, and you have any kind of real voice where it's fucking heard.
Yep.
You're disappeared.
Yeah, he's going to come to your house on a horse without a shirt, and he's going to put a foot in your face.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyways, we're getting close to the time where we're going to...
Oh, you want to call it off? Yeah.
Yeah, but so next week, Dino is going to atone and repair for all his...
What did I say was bad?
Your white privilege.
I went on a lot of rants today.
No, it's good. It's beautiful.
For sure.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, if you've listened to every second to this moment,
yep,
really, we appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And we want to try to... We've been inconsistent. We're going to try to be more consistent, and we've probably said that before. But, holidays happen. It's New Year, new me, 2023.